The BMW X1 is not a new model. In fact, it's been around for so long that it's just had its midlife facelift. And even though I've had some time to get used to it, I still have one burning question. And I'm almost certain that most of the 5,000 local drivers of BMW X1s have got the same question. What exactly is it?
Not nearly as big as an X3, not similar to a 3 Series, but somewhere in between. BMW proudly claimed the X1 was the first car in its class, and as far as I can tell, it's still the only one. If you were to tell me it's a premium compact SUV type thing, like an Audi Q3, I would happily point out that the Q3 looks like an SUV. This thing just looks like a big station wagon.
It's questionable market positioning aside, let's look at the styling updates. The recipe for a car's facelift is fairly predictable, so you know I'm going to tell you it's got things like new headlights and a new front apron, and some styling tweaks at the rear, and a host of obligatory new paint colors. But what that doesn't tell you is how much more attitude this car has. It's gone from something that was fairly awkward looking to something that looks like it means business.
The new face of the X1 gives me an idea that this car might be about sportiness, and that idea is reinforced by its optional 19-inch wheels. It has that angry look of the 135i sedan, a look that has a tendency to make people on the road up ahead of you move over as you come up behind them. It may have a chiseled and defined face, but its proportions are what's throwing me off. BMW call this a sports activity vehicle, which is fair enough, but all its other sports activity vehicles, the X3, X5 and X6, look more muscular, look more ready to take on the world. The X1 just looks like an estate car with a raised ride height. Does it work? Well, it may not carry the lifestyle vehicle genes, but it is a decent looking machine.
About this car, and the more you explore it, the more you get the impression it's about sport rather than anything else. The interior upgrades now include a more driver-focused center console and some options like a sport steering wheel. The color scheme is a bit monochromatic, but it is still comfortable and full of the regular BMW bits and pieces.
There's not a lot to talk about in here, not because it's badly spec'd or anything, but because it's just so typically BMW. There are some new highlights, like the gloss black accents here and there, but nothing much more exciting than that. Our test car was fitted with the optional sat-nav system, but the standard kit list includes climate control and a 5-speaker sound system with auxiliary input. There's good all-round interior space with a decent boot for those adventurous family getaways that the brochure says this car is good for.
The full engine lineup consists of 3 petrols and 2 diesels, including a new 160 kilowatt diesel. This is the 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo with 180 kilowatts and 350 newton meters, good for a 0 to 100 time of 6.5 seconds.
With this motor, the X1 is certainly more about being sporty than being outdoorsy. Lots of good instant power from pull-off and always enough on tap when you need it. Without doubt, the most impressive thing about this particular X1 is its engine.
Yes, it's got electronically controlled all-wheel drive with hill descent control, and it always feels planted, but the handling never really delivers any fun. It feels capable without ever really involving the driver. The motor, on the other hand, always makes you smile when you feel how willing it is.
Lesser X1s are fitted with the 6-speed manual gearbox, but in here we have the 8-speed Steptronic automatic. As gearboxes go, it's not particularly earth-shattering, but the main thing here is that it does its job well, delivering quick shifts without much interruption in power. Although, having said that,
I'm just getting used to 8-speed gearboxes, and although the one in here is good, these paddles kind of complicate things. There's always more paddling to be done than you think, so you go into and you come out of corners in all sorts of gears. And the problem is that even if you opt not to have the paddles, there is something else about the steering wheel that is quite troubling.
The steering itself, which is incredibly heavy. I drove the updated 135i during the time I had this car, and it occurred to me that BMW may have swapped that car's steering with this one. Where the 135i is lighter and more accurate, the X1 suffers from a heavy action reminiscent of the old Z4 M Coupe, a hardcore sports car. Given the family role that the X1 will play, the steering should have been a lot more friendly.
I started out not quite knowing where the BMW X1 fits into the motoring hierarchy, and to be honest, I'm still not that sure. The xDrive 28i has got a great engine and a good gearbox. It's as spacious as it ever was, and it's now more purposeful looking than ever. But it just doesn't stand out in any way. It'll appeal to BMW fans, but for me, there's more fun to be had for 477,000 Rand.
The highlight of the X1 xDrive 28i is undoubtedly the motor, which always delivers enough power when you need it. Its solid interior is fitted with the usual standard BMW fare, but the steering is uncomfortably heavy, especially given that it will be used primarily as a day-to-day family car.